Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
1, 1, 2. Check me out right here, yo.
Yo, the sun don't shine
Thank
forever.
you for joining me for another edition of the Bob Sullivan Show here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. I am joined here in hour number 1 by Bruce Jacobs of Game On with Bruce Jacobs. Bruce, how you doing today?
Good, Bob. How are you?
I'm very good. You know, you are the first person that I've had on the show that I used to listen to growing up on Fox Sports Radio. Back in the day, Overnights with Bruce Jacobs on Fox Sports Radio was one of my favorite shows ever.
You're dating me. I think I sound old right now.
Well, I apologize if I make you feel old.
No, that old grew up listening to you because, you know, I pull that stunt on some people too. So I get it. It's all good. It just dates you, that's all. But it's all good. It is what it is.
I miss the day. I miss listening to you rip on the Dolphins fight song. Oh
yeah, that's good stuff. I could sing that for you, but I don't have the words in front of me right now. But oh yeah.
That seemed to be a weekend, an annual ritual on the weekends there. Well, Bruce, what I want to talk to you about going into the NFL draft, you know, the Jets kind of came off of a, you know, not too many people expected what they did out of Ryan Fitzpatrick last year, kind of overachieved. What are you expecting going into the draft? And do you think, you know, what do you want done with Ryan Fitzpatrick? Do you want to just move on at this point?
Well, I'll answer both of those questions because I think there were two of them. What am I expecting? I'm expecting a disaster. What do I think of Ryan Fitzpatrick? I think he stinks. And I'm disgusted, and I'm frustrated as a Jet fan right now. I'm a frustrated Jet fan. That's what I am, Bob. I'm a frustrated Jet fan because we're going to make the wrong move here, and I'm never going to see a Super Bowl in my entire life, and I'm bitter about it at this point.
What are you a fan? You know, I'm kind of the same way with the Cubs. Eventually, I just gave up. How close have you been to just giving up and just not rooting for a team at all in the NFL?
No, that'll never happen. I've lived a Jet fan. I'm gonna die a Jet fan. I'm never gonna switch because, you know, the moment I switch, and I don't even know how you switch. I don't even know how that. I can't grasp. To be honest with you, I don't even grasp the concept of switching teams. I just don't. Yeah. So, having said that, if I switch, then they'll win the damn Super Bowl, and I'll look like a complete idiot, and that's not going to happen. So I'm gonna die as a Jet fan, and that's fine. I'm just frustrated right now because Ryan Fitzpatrick, the guy is 43-61 as a starter. Okay, did that come across clear? I want to make sure that came across clear.
That came across crystal clear. Yeah, he's not somebody who should be demanding a certain number.
40-61. That's his record. Now, if he were a pitcher, that would probably get him $3 million a year. Okay, Ryan Fitzpatrick is horrible. And I don't want to hear about what he did against Jacksonville and Tennessee and Houston. I don't want to hear about that. I know what he did against Buffalo in the last game of the season, the game that was a win and you're in scenario. He threw 4 interceptions. He's horrible. I'm frustrated.
Did you wish that they would have kept Rex Ryan around?
No, you know, I mean, I love Rex Ryan. I do. I'm a Rex Ryan guy for sure. No, you know, I really don't look at. I don't scrutinize coaches. Let me put it to you that way, like a lot of folks do. I mean, there's some, sure, and that's not an absolute. But I'm not my team lost, you know, fire the coach type of guy. That's just not That's just not the way I look at it. I'm ambivalent. I do like Rex Ryan. I do, and I think Rex Ryan is great for football. Having said that, Ryan Fitzpatrick is, but the problem is there's nothing else. I mean, as bad as Ryan Fitzpatrick is, Geno Smith is, and he's worse. I mean, he's 20 times worse, if that's possible. So, instead of doing the right thing by going to get RG3 or making a bid for Colin Kaepernick, they're going to bring back this Ryan Fitzpatrick character, and where's it going to go? Is it going to get to the Super Bowl? Ryan Fitzpatrick going to ever get to a Super Bowl as a non-spectator? No.
What sport do you think the coach gets too much credit? Do you think it's the NFL?
You got me. You got me wound up now. Let me see. Too much credit? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe college football. They don't get too much blame, to be honest with you. I mean, not all of them. There's some really bad coaches out there, but I'm just not. I just don't scrutinize the coaches as much as others. That's all. Just not my thing.
Well, looking around the NFL, do you think with what's going on in this off season, with Peyton Manning retiring, it looks like Kaepernick's probably going to go. It looks like he's probably going to the Broncos at some point. Do you see the Broncos taking a giant step back with Kaepernick, or do you think that they can make if they have him, do you think that they can, continue on the right path with a Gary Kubiak, a real coach coaching Kaepernick again instead of Tomasulo?
Well, I mean, listen, I think Chip Kelly is a disaster. I'm not a fan. All these so-called experts talking about how innovative he is, and how brilliant he is, and how progressive he is. And he's a disaster. Okay, now there's a coach. You want to talk about that? I mean, this guy, and not only that, okay, but as Bill Parcells once famously said, and I'll just change it is that Chip Kelly got to shop for the groceries and cook the meal, and he flopped in both of them. So the best thing for Kaepernick is to get away from that guy. Denver is depleted. It's not going to matter whether they get Colin Kaepernick or not. But I do think Colin Kaepernick is a viable quarterback in this league. I absolutely do. I mean, there's no question about it. He's been there. He's gotten his team he's helped get his team to the Super Bowl. He's been in 2 NFC championship games. I think it's 2, right? 2 or 3. But, yeah, I would love Colin Kaepernick to be on the Jets. I would love RG3, to be honest with you. I'm a big advocate of his. So, but didn't happen. So if I'm Denver, it's a lot more. I mean, they've lost a lot of talent in free agency here. They've not had a good free agency season.
I didn't think there would be a downgrade for RG3 leaving the Redskins, but I think going to the Browns is a definite downgrade for his career path. I don't see, I think he would have benefited from going to, a Jets, maybe even a Texans, somewhere that wasn't the Browns. Do you just see that his career continuing to implode by playing with the Browns?
Well, I think Hugh Jackson is a terrific, is a terrific offensive coach. So I actually think RG3 is going to benefit playing for him. I think that's going to help him out. And, I just think that I'm not saying he didn't cause some of his own issues in Washington. Nobody's perfect. But I think it's overblown. I think what's blamed on him is overblown. And, again, he's been to the playoffs. Ryan Fitzpatrick has never even been in a playoff game, ever. Okay, that is the funny thing. I keep listening to how Kaepernick, he stinks, he's no good, throw him overboard. RG3, no way would I ever take him. And then you start telling me about Ryan Fitzpatrick because he threw for 3,900 yards last year. It's ridiculous. RG3 has been to the playoffs. So I forget which defensive lineman of the Giants the year they won the Super Bowl. No, excuse me, not won the Super Bowl, but won the division. one of those, I think might have been you, Manura, I forget exactly which one, said of RG3, this guy's going to be a nightmare to play twice a year. It was like quote unquote, I mean, I'm paraphrasing it a little bit, but I still think RG3 is a good buy, and so I think the Browns will benefit actually, and they won't have to waste the second pick on a quarterback. We'll see if they do it anyway. They're dumb enough to do it, but if they're smart, they'll just go with RG3. They got a backup guy, McClown, and just go with that.
Well, off of football for a minute, looking at the NCAA tournament, kind of after the first weekend, the first round and second round of games, kind of a lull during Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Once we got to the national, and then the Final Four was terrible, national championship was great. What did you make of the last, who should get more credit? Villanova's drying up at the play, or do you think there should be some blame on UNC's defense? I didn't think UNC played horrible defense on that. I mean, it was a well-contested shot, and, it went in. What was your take on the...
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Listen, I thought that was a great play by Villanova. Man, I tell you, my bracket got blown up starting on Thursday of the Sweet 16, and I never recovered. Okay, so I wish I would have had Villanova. Having said that, I didn't. I will say this, no team played a better tournament than they did. Even North Carolina, even going into the championship game. And I did pick Nova to win. I didn't pick it from the beginning. I'm not that smart, unfortunately, and I'm kind of dumb. I had Michigan State, so what do I know? But Villanova, I mean, what they did, that first half against Iowa, if you saw that half, man, I mean, I have not seen a team play a better half of basketball against, a good Iowa team, not a great team, but a good team that was ranked as far as got up as high as number 3, I think, during the season. And it was almost a joke. I mean, it was just like inbounds, turnover, e-bucket, and you could just Villanova. In my opinion, they were the best team. In my opinion, they were the best team in the tournament, and it was great. It was brilliant. It was a great play call, a great play execution, and a great play finish. So, as bad as the Final Four was, the championship game more than made up for it. And I'm inclined. I'm not one of these who jumps on the bandwagon, but I'm inclined to say that this might have been not the best college game I've ever seen, but the best championship game I've ever seen. That Duke Butler game, the first one, was highly underrated.
Yeah.
That was a phenomenal game. I mean, there's been a few, but, I mean, this game was great. This was a great game. Two great teams. It was worthy of a championship game. I'm glad I had a chance to see it.
In my lifetime, I would say this was number 1. Number 2 was Duke Butler, the first one. That would have been number 1 if Gordon Hayward hits the half-court shot to win it.
Yeah, how about that?
And then number 3 is Duke UConn. That was like the last 2 teams with like veteran players on it going against each other, with Elamine, Voskuhl, Richard Hamilton versus Elton Brand, Corey Maggette, and William Avery at Duke. That was that game. I think Duke ended up losing by 3, but I think that would be my 3rd best national championship I've seen in 25 years.
I will say, man, this was such an enjoyable game. I mean, it really was. 2 excellent teams. I'm really thrilled that I got a chance to see it. It was just a fantastic game. I mean, if you're going to have the last game to make up, because that final, the Final Four, even the women's Final Four was a disaster on both ends. So you had one of the worst Final Four weekends maybe in the history of NCAA in terms of competitiveness, both, and it showed. But that final game was worthy of all the praise for it, because it was a fabulous game. Well,
a couple more questions before I let you go. who is the team that always ruins your viewing experience when you fill out a bracket year in, year out for the NCAA tournament? My team is always Michigan State because I get so mad from the year before that I don't pick them and then they make a deep run and it screws up my bracket. Or like this year, I picked Michigan State to win the national title and then they blow it in the first game. They're always my kryptonite in my bracket filling out. Who's your team that always screws you over?
I don't know that I have one because there's so many that like to get the last laugh against me. Syracuse is, and usually Syracuse is like the easiest team to figure out, and yet I have never figured it out, which is amazing. I mean, when you expect nothing out of them, or when you trash them, like everybody did, is they didn't belong in a tournament, and I was inclined to be on that side. They were 19-13. I didn't think they deserved to be in the tournament over Monmouth. I'm not going to lie to you. And when you expect nothing out of them, when you trash them, that's when they make their run. And then when you have expectations for them, that's when Richmond bites them in the butt and takes them out. So Syracuse is always, they're the easiest team to figure out, and yet I still haven't figured it out. Because if you looked at my bracket, you would see that Syracuse was left dust early.
And then on to the NBA quickly about the Golden State Warriors. Lost last night to the Timberwolves. Do you see them getting 73, and do you care if they get 73?
Oh, I definitely care, and I definitely want them to get it. I definitely care. I watched that game last night. Minnesota, I mean, how did they lose 50-plus games this year? Goodness gracious, they have such good young talent. I mean, can't sit here and say I watch a lot of Timberwolves games, but what I saw last night, I mean, they were poised. That was a really good game. But yes, I definitely care, and I definitely want them to break it. And do I think they'll break it at this point? I mean, they got to play the Spurs twice. The problem with the Spurs, you have no idea what Popovich is going to do, unless I miss something. You have no idea what he's going to do. Is he going to play his guys? If he is, they're playing to win the game. And if he doesn't, then they don't care. And I'm inclined to think that he's probably going to do 1-1. I think he'll play his guys in one of the games, and he won't play them in one of the others. And I think the ones where he plays the regulars is the game that they'll beat Golden State. And I think that'll be the home game. I'm not sure when that's coming up. Is that the next one? I'm not sure.
I think that's their next game is the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll play his regulars at home and sit them out at Golden State. So, to me, if they're going to get beat, it's going to be that game. And that was highly entertaining last night, I must say. Highly impressive performance by Minnesota.
Do you think we'll be robbed if we don't get a Western Conference Final of Warriors-Spurs?
Well, I don't look at it as being robbed. I just don't see how it's not going to happen. I mean, I just don't see how it won't happen. I mean, who are you telling me? You're going to tell me Houston? You're going to tell me Utah? You're going to Oklahoma City? I mean, Portland. Portland.
I think Oklahoma City they're the only team that could upset the Spurs, and I don't think that's a great chance. But I mean, I guess they're pretty limited outside of Durant and Westbrook. The thing that confuses me with them is the same issues that they were having with Scott Brooks in his rotations are the same issues they're having with Billy Donovan, who they thought would fix those problems. And he's caught in situations where, I mean, Enes Kanter is not the greatest player in the world, but the reason for not having him in the lineup down the stretch of games at times really baffles me.
Well, I will say this. I just had a loss of train of thought there. To me, it's really case closed, and I mean that from a standpoint that there is no competitive balance in the NBA. Here's the thing: there's going to be some good series The outcome is not in doubt, though. I mean, it's going to be Cleveland versus Golden State, and Golden State's going to win, and rightfully so. And they're going to, they'll earn it and all that business. But yeah, Golden State is an amazing team, and you're talking to a guy who's not a worshiper of offensive basketball, but man, that's Steph Curry. Whew. He is a bad man. Oh, is he good? Man, he's the best shooter I've ever seen. He's an amazing basketball player. I love watching him play. And I'm not the biggest NBA guy, but I do love watching Golden State play, and I do love watching Draymond Green and Steph Curry.
What do you think, if LeBron leaves Cleveland, do you think the worst thing that he's left on that franchise is a bad contract with Tristan Thompson?
I don't think he's going to leave. I mean, I don't get some of the antics, and the cutting off the communications and all this. I really don't. I have a hard time grasping what you're trying to accomplish. Having said that, I don't think he's going to leave. In the end, I think he'll stay, and I don't think he's going to leave. So, it would be a PR nightmare for him, I think, if he left. And, where is he going to go? He's going to go to New York? No. Where is he going to go? He's going to go back to Miami? No, he's not going to go to Indiana. I mean, he's not going to the Clippers. Where's he going to go? I think he's there, and that's fine. Golden State's an amazing team. I'm not a big. It's funny because I like it more of a rugged style, but this Warrior team they're brilliant, man. I mean, they are excluding last night, they are what they are. They're a brilliant team.
Well, Bruce, on that note, truly an honor to get to interview you. Again, I love listening to your show when I was growing up. Do you want to tell everybody where we can find you on, Game On, all that good stuff?
Well, you can find us on Facebook, and I do a weekly podcast for a company out of New York. You can find us at registerstar.com Mondays, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time, and it's nice. A lot of really good broadcasters have left the radio world and gone online, and do okay for themselves and enjoy the fact that it's not as structured, I guess is a word, and that's fine. And I enjoyed it. It's great. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, again, thank you very much, and we'll be right back here on the Bob Sullivan Show here on Late Night Sports Radio.